Welcome to the Fancy Thinker. I'm Jared, and it's time for March 2026 update. What have I read in February? What am I reading now? What am I going to approach in March that I haven't started yet? These are the questions, right? And, February was dark, the darkest winter, one of the darkest winter months we've had in a long time around here. As you can see, my poor dog couldn't even bark at the deer, couldn't chase the deer because she all she had to do was just she couldn't get through the snow, just barking at him. So uh, that's how rough the winter has been. The poor dog, right? Anyway, so all right. What books did I finish in February? I managed to get through some four pretty good books. February's a short month, so I try to get five in sometimes, but a little tight for time in February. Anyways, I finished Small Gods by Terry Pratchett. This was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Had a great time talking about it on with Vasha on her podcast, and this was fun. This was a lot of fun. I liked Pratchett's humor, but more than his humor, I like his insight into religion and into belief and non-belief and everything in between. It was a good time, really good time. Enjoyed Small Gods. But the biggest one that I finished in February was Black Dragon on Red by P.L. Stewart. A Black Dragon on Red. PL was so kind to send me an advanced reader copy of this, and this is book 6 in the Drowned Kingdom saga. And I know I feel like I say this every time, every year that one of these has come out, but this is possibly the best one yet. uh, and that's amazing because they've all been really good. And I was just blown away by this book, and I have a review out on it, so check that out. And it comes out sometime this spring. I think he's shooting for April, but we'll see. Keep an eye out for it. It is something to behold. This sixth book and cool cover, right? So yeah, catch up before it comes out if you haven't yet, because it's worth it. Trust me, it's a great series, and yeah, so I was happy to finish that. I also finished Man Plus by Frederick Pohl. This is part of our sci-fi masterwork read along, and this was cool. Well, this was okay. I should say it was okay. I honestly I was kind of bored with it up until like maybe the last 50 or 60 pages or so, and then it kind of picked up and it ended really well. I will give it that. So that was Man Plus that I finished, and the last thing that I finished in February was Redemption Arc by Alastair Reynolds, and we finished this as part of our speculative speculation podcast. And I'm glad to be done with this. It was the first half was okay. It was hard to get through for me, but it did pick up towards the second half. And man, this guy has a lot of great big ideas, and so that's what's keeping me going with this series. Because I know for our podcast we'll be getting into the third book soon. Uh, so that was all the novels I finished. List of short stories that I finished. First and foremost was a novella by Stephen Donaldson out of the Daughter of Regals and Other Tales collection. This was the novella called Animal Lover about a kind of futuristic game preserve where things get out of control. So this one it was a great story. Not my favorite in the collection, but still really good. So if you haven't read any of these stories, they're top notch short fiction, and we'll talk about it on my channel with the short fiction side hustle. So check that out as well, with a bunch of friends. And so I also finished. Let me see here. Um, yes, I finished a short story out of the March April 2024 edition of Asimov's Science Fiction magazine, and this one was by Ian Basque, and it's called "The Man in the Moon is a Lady." And this was interesting, uh, really interesting story. The format was very strange. It had these little super short chapter type things, and it kind of it was about this woman who invented what she called in the 1920s and 30s. Um, she invented what she called, what did she call it? The agutrope, I think. I think that's what it's called. And and she was, railing about not getting credit for this, and then it turns out that I think she was committed to an asylum because it might not have been real, but the story kind of leaves it up in the air as to whether or not it was real. Because then it has this side story of hers about being able to see people living on the other side of the moon, and so it got a little fun. It got fun and wacky. It was kind of neat. So pretty cool stuff. All right, I also finished couple of short stories out of the Big Book of Science Fiction for our Speculative Speculation podcast. We read a short story called Passing as a Flower in the City of the Dead by S.N. Dyer. Very haunting, strange tale about basically shipping sick people off to a different planet to live there instead. So that was okay. And then we read New Rose Hotel by William Gibson, the author of the famously wrote Neuromancer, and New Rose Hotel kind of had that corporate tech warfare type feel that you get in the cyberpunk type of stuff. And Gibson's a very intense writer, very good. The descriptions were outstanding. What happened in the story, I'm not 100% sure, but that tracks with Gibson, and but I still kind of enjoyed it. It was it was good. It was interesting. Yeah, following that like I said, that corporate technological espionage type of thing. Not sure if the espionage was successful or not. It was kind of he left it kind of vague, but that's okay. It was so well written. Anyways, I also read out of the short story collection Shapers of Worlds, Volume 5. I finished a story called The Grove by M.J. Kuhn. And this was a pretty cool story. It was kind of almost a cosmic horror type thing where there's this place called the Grove, and these people go missing in this grove whenever they go through it. And then as you go through the story, you find out the reasons why, and you find out who lives there, and there's all this misinformation about who they are, and it was really cool. I enjoyed that story quite a bit. So those were all the short stories that I read. Okay, so I finished all that stuff. Um, what am I reading right now? Okay. I oh wait, no, I got one more. That's right. I also finished out of Chinese myths and folk tales, strange stories from a Chinese studio. I read the story called Gen Xiu. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. It's Hsiu. Um, and this story detailed Mr. Jen, who who him and his best friend were traveling. He fell sick. He died. He gave all his money to his friend and said, "Here, give half to my family, give half to yourself." and after my expenses and stuff like that. And then he dies. The friend goes off, does what he's supposed to do, but then he has a bunch of silver to play with. He ends up gambling it, and he ends up he gambles it away, and then he loses to somebody who then he afterwards realizes that the somebody who he lost to was his friend's son. So this was many years later, and so and then something happened where the money that his friend's son put down as collateral for the gambling, for the chips and stuff like that, uh was actually fake. It was just cheap tinsel or something like that. And then so he went after the guy, not knowing it was the guy's son. When he found out it was the guy's son, he was like, "Oh man, you're his son. All right, never mind. I won't go after you anymore." Like, they call it strange stories for a reason. All right. So, anyways, what am I reading right now? This is the doozy I'm reading right now. This is a reread for me. Forbidden Knowledge by Stephen Donaldson. Yeah, there we go. The Gap into Vision. This is book 2 in the Gap cycle. Um, and I'm about 130 pages or so into it right now. So intense. So intense. If you like intense storytelling, this is the way to go. There are trigger warnings involved in here, but not as much as the first book, but still there. And man, I I am loving this. I am loving the reread because it's been 25 years, and I'm just being reminded of all the things that go on in this series is incredible. All right, I am also in another book too. I just started a little few days ago, and I am in book 2 of Keeper of the Keys. book two uh book two of The Cycle of Fire, called Keeper of the Keys by Janie Wertz. So I'm only about 40 pages, 50 pages in. So far so good. I really liked the first book a lot, and this one picks up right where the first one left off pretty much, and I'm enjoying it just as much. So a lot of fun here. Keeper of the Keys by Janie Wertz. All right. And of course, I am also continuing my deep dive into Forge of Darkness by Steven Erickson, the first book in the Carcanus trilogy. And I am doing about a chapter a week. And so I have a bunch of videos on that. If you've read Forge of Darkness, you can watch those. Don't watch them if you haven't read them. They're all a spoiler, and they're really in those videos. I'm really just delving deep into each chapter, trying to get the most out of it, and so I can really let it sink in. And I'm having fun with that, so that's good. All right, yeah. So that's everything I've read February. So that was pretty good month. So onto the docket for next month. I'm also going to be adding. I'll probably be starting this tomorrow for Speculative Speculations. We're going to read Solaris by Stanislaw Lem, the famous novel that a couple of movies were made out of, and so looking forward to that. Um, and I'm also going to be reading and for the sci-fi masterwork discussion, A Case of Conscience by James Blish, which is included in this collection of famous sci-fi novels from the 50s. So we will be reading that sometime as well. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this month. I'm Things look like they might start to be warming up, and spring is on the way, folks. I will be attending ICFA, as far as if everything goes okay, with flights and hotels and all that stuff. I will be attending the international conference for the Fantastic and the Arts this year, and so hoping to find some cool stuff there. Go to some cool conferences. Go to some cool presentations, and just relax a little bit and have little bit of vacation. So next month I'll report on that and see how that went. And yeah, be good to each other. And thank you for.
Never won the conversation. Give me silence or